wait, and I'm sure all of you at home cannot wait as well for the game to be underway. So don't worry, you don't have to wait at all because we are now back in the land of Dawn for our third series of the day. It's gonna be Idns from Thailand on the blue side going up against Indonesia's RRQ Hoshi.
There it is. Jungle Julian, right? I think that's, honestly, so far from what we've seen, I think this is the best place right now for Julian, the way that teams are currently using him. And also, when you're talking about matching him up here, you know, he's matched up against an Akai, who we've seen dominate the past couple days.
I think that I do think that Julian in the jungle is going to be the safest way for a lot of teams because they're very comfortable, and with the way Julian plays out, he kind of fits the role being a utilitarian, being able to deal enough damage, but if you need him to engage and lock somebody down just enough for you to win your trade, he can do that as well. I think that throwing him into different positions does allow for a little bit more flexibility. However, if you look on towards that top side, and especially with the way Vin is taking these trades, they got to be careful. This early game may not necessarily be in their favor.
Yeah, absolutely. So both teams actually do have to be a little bit cautious here. Obviously, Zanri can be a little more aggressive as compared to Vin simply because of how their heroes will interact. But both sides do want to delay the game long enough for their cores to get up farm. So unlike the previous matchup where we saw Idns really play hard and fast, they're now trying to just take it slow down the tempo so that their Iritel and their Cecilion can get really fed.
I mean, Vin's doing an amazing job right now, just kind of zoning. That's exactly what he has to do. And even forcing that early flicker out from Zanri. So, I mean, forcing Zanri to kind of check himself in the playstyle that he's going with the Selena is going to be important, especially with this first turtle coming up, because there's a lot of tools available on both sides, and RRQ has the advantage here.
Lois using the heavy spin, wants to go in, but the turtle has already been secured by Albert, who pops the enhanced chain. Dotting Light doing a lot more damage than I would have expected here in the first 2 minutes, but RRQ Hoshi off to a good start.
They're off to an okay start. I think, again, nothing has really happened in this game. Nobody has made enough moves. They are developing very slight advantages, but nobody's dying just yet. Oh, speaking of
really, the caster curse here, I feel, is especially strong with Gideon for some reason. Ramela going to unfortunately be the first blood here, and now RQ looking for another one. A nice jump forward by Izzy to escape the Numenon blast, and now the sprint going to allow him to get away, but the dog! That's just unfortunate. Clay in perfect position to get it with that infinite extension.
I thought there was a moment there where, like, Izzy might have gotten away there, especially with the sprint, but it was a nice kind of cutoff here from the team of RRQ Hoshi. And I mean, that's what they have to be careful for, right? Because we don't technically know how much damage is packed into this new Irithil just yet, or how it's going to play out for the game. But right now, focus on those targets you need to. Ramela, you don't want Ramela to just kind of freely scale here. Also focusing on that gold lane. So right now, RRQ slowly building that gold lead. As you can already see, 1.6k gold. It's only the 3.5-minute mark.
Yep. I think RRQ Hoshi at this point in time are going to keep playing through mid, right? They want to be able to catch as many people as possible. And since, I mean, Sun is in a position where he rotates over towards the mid side. He needs to start checking the brush and knows that Julian is there and now falls into the trap. Can he get out in time? Yes. He drops his ult to ensure that he survives.
Dotting Light again though from Clay, providing backup. Right now we can already see the power of the Xavier's global presence just providing backup to the rest of his team as compared to IDNS. A lot of them are forced to have to actually rotate to assist their cores because they take a while to actually scale up. Whereas on RQ, they're perfectly comfortable all staying in their own lanes. And right now, I think they're having the advantage in basically every lane as well.
You know, as this next turtle comes up here, I feel like it's hard for Lois to decide on which target to actually like heavy spin on, right? The Abyssal arrows are there. Turtle is going to be reset right now, but at this point, like, who do you jump on if you're Lois?
I think I don't know. I think it's either Albert or ideally Clay. I mean, Clay and Lemon are obvious choices, but if you can get Albert as well, I think that would be the most ideal. But Lois now in some trouble.
Yes, heavy spin, but Mr. P stops it in place, but Ramela gets the turtle somehow. Albert missing the retribution. Now Lois in a bit of trouble. R7 wants to look for him, will get that kill. Albert being jumped on in the back line, but is able to survive with the dash away. So IDNS biting back a little bit.
All right, it's 0-3 for now, and Boots are starting to finish as they look for this initial dive on towards Ramela. She's going to make it out, and yes, no sprint as well. RRQ just looking for any sort of pick. Again, they are playing like oddly slow, knowing that IDNS could easily turn this over, and they don't necessarily have priority over all the lanes. So they're just really making sure that when they make a move, it's 100% guaranteed, rather than having to risk it against a team like IDNS.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing here from RRQ, Hoshi, is just that discipline factor, right? I mean, these guys have been playing together for a long time. They have many accolades under their belt here, and that's what we're seeing. Like, we're seeing them just making the decisions that really matter and not being too risky in it. And that's kind of, again, that's the play style that we've seen from IDNS, where they make some choices that are a little bit risky, but does sometimes pay off for them. And right now, I just feel like they're playing at the pace or the tune of RRQ Hoshi.
Yeah, as they move around the map, right, and especially with this mid lane control, RRQ eventually want to get into a bigger team fight. With 36 seconds on the clock, this turtle is going to come out, and even IDNS are preemptively making sure that they have the bushes covered for Izzy so he doesn't get caught out. But RRQ, I think they've got an idea here.
Oh, they do find Vin. He wasn't expecting 3 members in that bush, and the heavy spin finally going to find its target, locking down Lolita. Albert going to miss the chain, but still gets the kill on Ramela. Now looking for Lois, but Izzy doing a fair bit of damage with that roar, gonna force them back.
Now, if they can get mid-tier 1, that would be the most ideal situation for RRQ Hoshi. 3 more seconds until Turtle comes back up, and R7 making sure that he has vision over 2.
Yeah, that should just be a free turtle for the most part. I mean, I know Izzy and Xanri are still down there, but, you know, Loy's not there. Yep, there you go. They secure that turtle. So they have 2 for the game. They still have that 3K gold lead as well. And I mean, right now, once again, it's just IDNS needs to find a moment here, but conceal play.
Yeah, Vin wanting to look for Izzy here. He's been left by himself. Xanri gonna be backing things off. Numen Blast will find, actually gets disrupted there by the Abyssal Arrow, allowing the Iridel to walk away. But the tower will go to the side of RRQ. Here comes Lois though, gets a nice 2-man heavy spin, and that's gonna secure the kill onto Lemon. Vin not quite squishy enough to be picked off, but that is a nice catch.
After finding these catches, RRQ Hoshi find themselves at 2.6k ahead. If we look at the item list so far, I mean, some haven't even made it into that first item, but just enough for RRQ to really start pumping up the tempo. And the question is, do they really want to, right? They've got those pushing waves. They've already found that first turret on bot side. They probably want to start pressing their advantage even more to crack that top side. They have plenty of time, and especially since they've got a majority of those turtles, they don't necessarily have to take First Lord. They can just wait for Luminous Lord instead.
Yeah, again, that's the discipline factor, right, coming out from RRQ Hoshi. And also, if you're wondering about, like, do they need to press for time? And yes, Ramela is on the Sicilian, but honestly, I think with what RRQ has drafted here, and if they just get a little bit of magic resist, they will be able to be okay for the majority of the game. I mean, look at already the damage coming out from Clay. So Clay alone is able to pretty much just keep them from initiating themselves. So I'm not sure. IDNS has to find some way to either allow Izzy to come online, and that's where we're going to see that Irithyll damage. I mean, we already saw a preview of it, but that was kind of a, you know, a surprise bush play that they had. There you go, too. So I'm wondering at what point does Izzy kind of pop off here.
I guess we'll see, because Lois is using the heavy spin in the mid lane, not able to find any catches. Izzy now forced to run away from R7, who does not intend to let him go. Dawning Light just barely getting duped out by the Irithyll here, allowing him to walk away. Sun now jumping onto Vin, popping Vengeance, but he is 1v4. That is not going to be enough to keep him alive against RRQ. They take the mid-tier 1. They rotate over to the Lord.
They take it. They're going to be able to take this with no problem. If they can bait IDNS into a fight they cannot win, that would be most ideal rather than having to coin flip it. But no, they stun Lois and they guarantee get this Lord.
Lois now going to be targeted, but R7 jumping onto Ramela in the backline as well. Heavy spin will pin him against the wall, but it is forced to be used defensively now because RRQ are just applying way too much pressure.
See, this is the thing, right? There's like this is a completely different game from the last series, right? Because this is much more just discipline-based, objective-based. I mean, there's not a ton of kills here. They have slowly built that 5, almost 6K gold lead, and right now it's just, you know, execution from RRQ Hoshi.
some good execution, in a matter of fact. And I mean, looking at Thamos right now, his item build is going to be a little defensive. I find it interesting that he opted to actually decide to go for the Demon Hunter sword. But hey, you know, to each their own. With this Lord pushing in, they need something to slow it down, and they can't afford to lose all of their outer turrets.
The Dawning Light already doing really notable damage here, and even Loy's not really finding a chance to engage. Izzy again being the target of R7. This Esmeralda has his sights set on the Irritel, and they're gonna look for him in every single fight. Lord now pushing into mid inhibitor, but Idns does clear that up alongside the top wave. RQ still has a minion wave, but I don't think they'll be able to get any structures off of this.
So slow, so methodical here. RRQ just barely interacting with IDNS, and now with a 7.5k lead without any reason to actually take a fight for the next 92 seconds. Let's see what they do.
I mean, this is just like you said, it's methodical, right? I mean, RRQ Hoshi, it hasn't been anything flashy, and they already have that 8k gold lead. They've got 6 turrets down. They had that 1 normal Lord. And it's still, if you think about it, at 11 minutes in, it still sets them up to pretty much just control this game right now. The next Lord will be up in about a minute or so, but even at that point, right, that's not enough time for actually IDNS to be scaled enough to go toe-to-toe with RQ.
Typically, when a team is down 7 or 8k net worth, especially within the first 10 minutes, the game can effectively be said to be over. It is, of course, 11 minutes in, so IDNS, I think they still have a possibility, but considering that they've lost all of their outer turrets and are now being forced to stay in their base, which means that their cores aren't going to be getting a lot of farm, this is just going to be a slow burn by RRQ unless something huge happens for IDNS.
IDNS, if they want to force the situation, it really just comes down to either a pick from Zanri or a big ult coming in from Lois. Everybody else has to just wait and honestly just submit until RRQ slip up somehow, but they've just dominated the map for so long that now with a 9.2k lead, this is coming up to a checkmate real soon.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying, right? Like, at what point, or who do you focus on here for the side of IDNS? Because you have to find a target, and literally your tools right now, because I'll tell you what, Abyssal Arrows aren't going to hit the targets right now. They're just playing around them. And R7, I mean, he is going just absolute king mode here in any lane that he chooses to, while the rest of the team just goes and focuses on objective after objective.
Yeah, they're confident. They know exactly what they're doing. Windtalker as well as concentrated energy coming in for Albert and Lemon respectively. This is painful. This is really, really painful for IDNS.
Yeah, it's not going to be a flashy defeat either. RQ are just slowly choking them out. This is perhaps the most calculative ML you could potentially play, not allowing their opponents any opportunity to even try and take a simple advantage. Lord now pushing in mid lane. Play already using Dawning Light quite early on, and Loy is taking fair bit of damage as well. R7 with a 2-man Falling Star Moon in the backline is zoning now the entire team. Numan on blast, gonna find one on Sun, and he is instantly taken out of the picture. They're now rotating up the top lane. They want to take the top inhibitor while IDNS is busy defending the bottom one. 2 structures down. RQ, it looks like they're happy with just that.
I don't think they can go for any more picks with the high ground defense that IDNS has so far. They can clear waves, but fortunately, even then, might not necessarily be enough.
They're gonna get this turret. I mean, that's the lockdown already, right? So R7, I mean, this has been the entire game. He's just getting attention, putting pressure wherever lane he parks himself in. Now, base of IDNS completely exposed here. RRQ, disciplined decision. Go back, steal the buff, steal the space, and wait, maybe even wait for the next Lord off unless they get a pick.
I mean, if they really wanted to, they could just catch the waves because there's nothing else to do on that on the map so far. And as we are coming towards the 14th minutes, we're seeing that Esmeralda already has a full build. R7 has been farming extremely hard. Julian, 1 more item to go, 2 more for Lolita. And I think at this point, Lemon, as soon as he gets that BOD or Malefic Roar, I think he's going to be quite unstoppable. But in comparison here, if we look over to Izzy, he's got 3 items himself and now is trying to build some form of magic resist.
Problem is, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. Yes, IZ does have enough damage to take down some of the squishier members of RRQ, but their positioning right now is not going to let that happen very easily. R7 by himself is capable of 1v5ing the entire team of IDNS at this point, which just means that unless a massive mistake is committed, we are just seeing the final throws of IDNS here in game number 1.
This is literally, you know, again, discipline. Let's just finish textbook fashion. Wait for the Lord. We don't need to make any risky plays. We have it pretty much the entire game. Lord's going to be up in 20 seconds. We can grab that, push into the base. That's RRQ's plan.
Gosh. Playing textbook is real boring here. I mean, after watching what happened in Group D, wait, speaking of boring, Eloy's already found his pick.
Yeah, he's R7, he's gonna get the 1v5 I mentioned earlier, but they're running away from him because the rest of RRQ is coming in. Ramela, Izzy has to run away. Lois and Sun are separated from the rest of their team, and now RRQ are just chasing them down. This is like a cat and mouse situation. Lois gonna be the first to fall. Double kill going over to Lemon. Massive damage. Izzy forced to run through the tower as Ramela is picked off as well. Dawning Light just to add insult to injury as R7 just going to catch him with the falling Star Moon. 4 members down. Sun, the only one surviving, and now RRQ looking to end this game with this minion wave. Numenon Blast on top of the Tam as he does manage to dodge it, but he is in a 1v5 situation. No way he's getting out of that. Killing spree going to RRQ, a wipeout on IDNS Esports as RRQ Hoshi close out game number 1.
Textbook. Textbook fashion. I want to bring a word up that Gideon once said.